What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? This is your man Tresvon Pratt with AIM, always improving the mind. And we are here with another great topic for you guys. Got to make sure we're good in the background. And I appreciate everybody that's here as always. Thank you. Wake up with me. Wake up with me. Okay. We're going to start the day off right with something good, something positive. You feel me? And we've been talking about communication all this week, and we're going to stay on that topic because that seems to be one of the largest issues in today's society, right? Most mishaps stem from miscommunication. Most mishaps stem from miscommunication. So if you ever look at like if you ever have a problem, you ever look at a problem, there's usually a misunderstanding, right? There was a miscommunication that happened. If you go back far enough, at the beginning is usually a miscommunication. There's an error there. Somebody didn't deliver the message well. Somebody said the wrong thing, or they said it in the wrong way. And that's what we're going to talk about today is your vocal tone, your tonality, right? Your tonality is just as important as what you say. How you say it is just as important as what you say. So I actually, if you've seen it from the beginning, I actually have a video that I want to share with you guys. This guy is a vocal coach, right? And he does great things as far as that community, right? And it's more so like he's working with public speakers. Hello. He's working with musicians, singers. How do you get range? How do you project your voice? How do you control your voice? And I love what he had to say. So that's what I'm going to bring to you guys right now. Let's see what he had to say.
How much is your voice conveying your credibility? Well, there was a Yale study that said that the sounds of your voice infinitely showcase the impression of you more than the words you say, more than the facial expressions that you make. And people make value judgments about you in 2 to 4 seconds. So you better make the right sounds to showcase credibility, or they won't believe a single thing you say after hello.
Hello. I love that. I love that. I love that. So makes clear and obvious sense to me. Uh, what did you get from that video? Go ahead, put it in the chat, put it in the comments. Let me know. Right. I'll get my shine on. And listen, I put this shine on regardless of the weather, regardless of the temperature. I make sure that I got my shine on because your skin needs moisture, regardless how cold it is, how hot it is. You need to be moisturized. All right, now I'm pretty sure we've all heard that phrase. If you've gotten into an argument, right? If you just want to be right, or you were right, but somebody still took offense to what you said, or like you've made somebody cry, right? Did you make somebody cry? Have you made somebody cry by saying something and later on they like, no, you was right, you know, it's just that you came off pretty harsh. You said the right thing, you just said it in the wrong way. Your vocal tonality is pivotal, right? It's pivotal. Like if you know how to if you know how to for one, you don't want to be at one tone, just monotone, and you talking like that late time DJ speaker, radio host, and it's like, oh my goodness, like everybody remembers the Quiet Storm, right? Man, in my era, I was a child with the Quiet Storm on the radio, and That's when I'm like, when we be on the ride home, Quiet Storm on, I'm definitely going to sleep. Like, it's not that the music ain't good. It's not that it's not interesting. It's just that frequency, that monotone is draining you. You go down, right? You go down with. So you can't. You don't want to try to stay at one pitch. You want to be able to go up and down, right? You want to bring the energy. You want to bring the energy, man. Look at me, 7 a.m. and here I am. Y'all up and down, up and down. Y'all gonna take this journey with me. We communicating, right? If you want to get somebody's attention, if you want to keep somebody's attention, if you really want people to listen to you, uh, I had said if you show interest in people, they usually show that they're interested. But also, you can show that you're interesting, right? If somebody's telling a story and they just got one pitch, they're monotone, then I'm not really interested. I'm like, hurry up, get to the punch, get to the end of the story. Like, you could have just told me that in one line. But when somebody is like, man, guess what happened to me? And you like, what happened? what where we about to go? Like, because it shows that, one, you know what you're talking about, right? Two, you're interested in what happened and you actually got something to say, right? It grabs the interest. So working on your vocal tonality can help you convey the message, can build the communication, definitely. It can put you in positions and it can put you in positions and showcase you as the authority or the person that you want to be, right? It can do so many things for you by you working on your vocal tonality. And uh there's the link in the description, always available. Anytime you guys want to join me in the discussion, feel free to do so. um but yeah, I had to learn vocal tonality because even though I was saying the truth, even though I was talking good stuff, people weren't listening, you know. um I was raised under that quote of, if you don't have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. And don't speak when adults are speaking. And what's the other one? um don't speak until you're spoken to. So for a lot of my childhood, I didn't speak. So when I would speak, it wasn't confident. It wasn't loud. It wasn't it wasn't there, man. I was a mumble speaker. I was a mumble speaker for most of my life, right? And here I am now, a public speaker, and I can convey the authority over a room, right? Over an entire room. I I did this, right? Working on my vocal tonality. I walked in the room. I walked in the workroom, and the work floor is a large area, right? And I said good morning because most of my peers, most of my coworkers, management, everybody's right there, and it's real quiet. So I said good morning, you know, and nobody responded. Nobody looked up. Nobody even heard me when I just broadly said good morning. So then I said good morning. And everybody like, oh, good morning, sir. Like, what happened? Like, you I got your attention by using my voice. Your voice is powerful. Your voice is powerful. So powerful that if you are religious, you look in the Bible, it says the tongue is the sword of the Lord. This is your weapon. Your voice, your words, communication is your greatest weapon in your arsenal. So you have to sharpen that weapon. You have to practice your skills and hone in on them. Master this thing. This is your greatest weapon in your arsenal, right? So we're gonna work on your vocal tonality. Excuse me. We're gonna work on your vocal tonality because using the right tone. I always tell guys like set the tone for the conversation. If it's a hard conversation, a tough conversation that you don't really want to have, if you set the tone for it, then it's more acceptable. It's easier to have that conversation when the tone is set. You create the environment for that conversation. So it's the same thing within the conversation. You set the tone with your voice. Set the tone or match the tone. Like I know I I've witnessed people like somebody scream. Somebody will have a death and they're sobbing, they're crying, and then somebody else will come over with that tonality, like, it's all right. You don't have to do it. And it's like, yo, like that wasn't appropriate for the situation, like not the words, but the tone. It's like you're trying too hard to be super bubbly in a moment where this person is not there, right? Like they're not in that realm. Like you chose the wrong tone. So again, we all yearn to be understood. In that situation, it's more important for that person to be understood, empathy, than for you to try to change how they feel, right? So it felt more so disrespectful. Like I don't even want to hear you because of the way you approach this person, the tone that you chose for that person. You know, like match the tonality of the conversation sometimes. Or if you do want to change the tonality of the conversation, you change your vocal tone, create the more uplifting. And it's like when you really learn this, when you really practice this, I get excited because it's certain words, certain areas of the sentence, things that you want to highlight, you highlight with your voice. You highlight with your voice. Did you notice? You highlight with your voice. You're gonna use your voice, but I'm emphasizing highlight. See, you gotta use your vocals. Your voice is your power, man. Use your voice. Use your voice. Don't be bashful to use your voice, right? Another thing going in the vocals. Uh, quick, quick tidbit. First and foremost, y'all ever notice that people who talk a lot? Simple, I know. But people who talk a lot because they remember a lot because you remember more of what you say and do than what you see and hear. So they have a lot to talk about because they keep talking. They remember more because they keep talking. So they have more to talk about. Um, just a quick little side, little info, little gem, real quick, Um, but it's also a muscle. It's also a practice. So if somebody talks a lot, you'll see. I'm like, if I talk to you enough, people forget what they've already told you and they'll give me the exact same, like the setup, the dialogue, the punchline, the facial expression behind it, everything. They'll give me the exact same, and I'm like, I know what you're about to say because you said it already. But I'm like, I realize that this is something that you have gotten some type of response from, and you want to continue getting that type of response. So you kind of like mastered this segment. It's the same thing comedians do, right? They'll keep practicing the same punchline and working on it and getting better at the setup until you like really got the crowd all the way engaged. Like you was able to tell this story and hit it hard with the punchline, and you got the standing ovation, everybody laughing, crying. You know what I'm saying? Crying, laughing. Excuse me. It's the same thing. Same thing with sales reps, right? First time they approach somebody, they nervous. They might have a little shakiness in their voice. It's timidity. They're timid. Excuse me. Um, they're timid in their approach. Head down, all of the nonverbal cues, and then when they finally speak, it's almost in a whisper. They're not getting too much, into it. And then after a few no's, after a few times that they've went through this spill, right? They don't need the script anymore. They remember what to say, what they're doing without having to think about it too much. And then they're just working on speaking to the person. And it's like, you're a natural born seller. Not actually. I just know what to say now. So, boom, the conversation flows. It's because you know what to say, you're confident in what you're saying, and you know the peaks and valleys, the highs and lows that you need to be hitting, you know, in order to convey the feeling, the tone of the conversation. Working on your vocal tonality can change the entire dynamic of your communication skills because it 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 sets the message. It sends the message, right? If somebody, like, say for instance, you in the buddy phase, you in the right before the girlfriend boyfriend, this might be the one, and y'all playing, right? And it's a playful back and forth, and one of y'all be like, "Man, I hate you." Those words are like, oh, but the tone and the gesture behind it is like, "Oh, you playing." What you really mean is you love me, but you can't say that. So you playfully telling me that you hate me, right? It's the tonality that gave those words a different meaning. Same thing, vice versa. If you with someone and y'all going through some things and they be like, I love you. You like, oh man, oh, what's about to happen? You about to break up with me? You about this? That's coming with the but at the end of it, or like that I love you came with like guilt and shame, and it's like, oh, what did I do? If you don't already know, it's like, what did I do? Like, what's about to happen when those words, I love you, supposed to convey happiness, emotion, like connectivity. It's supposed to make you feel good if somebody say I love you, but if they come at you like I love you, it's like that didn't feel good because of the tone. It's the vocal tone. You have to use the right tone to convey the right message. I told y'all in the beginning, all of this done together, you'll be a beast in communication. All of this done together, you'll be a beast in the communication. So set the tone right, get your vocal cords right, right? And one of the things that Mr. Roger Love from the video, he's considered America's number one vocal coach. One of the things that he say do is like practice. Try it out. He said record yourself. Record yourself, uh, audio or video, but it's vocal. You probably want to do audio. You don't really want to see yourself. Um, but he says record yourself and just say something and play it back. A lot of people when they get on camera or they hear themselves, they be like, "That's what I sound like." Like almost every person for the first time that I like talk to them or play it back, if I got to talk to you electronically, um, usually when I play it back, they be like, "That's what I sound like." Somebody goes live with me, they look at it, be like, I gotta go again because that don't even sound like me. That's because again, you thinking too much, and with that thinking, you're not doing, and that stops you from being your authentic self, who actually feels what you're talking about, right? When you're thinking, you're blocking the action. instead of just being in the act of speaking. You can convey that emotion through your vocal tonality. This is another reason why I emphasize being in tune with yourself emotionally, because everything isn't even kill. Everything isn't a blanket, right? You're not always going to be at this flat level. And if you are, nothing is going to move, right? When you speak, when you using different pitches and you going up and down, and you just like when you're speaking and you mean what you say, even if no matter the situation, if it's a loving situation, if it's a commanding authority situation, if it's approaching for the first time, you're making an impression, if it's an interview, if it's anything, any situation where you have to talk, you're conveying an emotion. Nonverbal communication conveys an emotion. How do you feel? If you're normally talkative and you're very quiet, if you see me and I'm not smiling, it's a problem. And people know it. They feel that, right? All of this communication conveys the emotion. You connect to the emotion. So be emotionally aware. It's another side tip. Be emotionally aware. But even if you're, again, going back to command and authority, you're still you still got to drive the emotion from your vocal tone. Now I know that word is going to throw a lot of people off, but that's what you're doing. If you want to look at it, it's all sales. People buy off of emotion. So you're going to sell on emotion. You're going to be able to deliver, right? It's supply and demand. You're going to be able to deliver using the right vocal tone. So Mr. Roger Love says to practice this, you record yourself and listen back. If you don't like it, then work on something, work on what you don't like. If you sound like you're just monotone and you just at one level, one pitch, and you just, if you're at that point, then he says, do the exact opposite. Now it's time to go crazy with the vocal tones, and you're just going to be going everywhere and just go crazy with it. And then, you'll find your median, right? You always hear on normal. All right, now go crazy until you find that median, right? If I want somebody to feel something, I learned this within the negotiation. Uh, if I really want you to feel something, I can lean in and get a little quieter and a little bit more of a whisper because I want you to actually like really get it in. I want you to like when you do that, it draws it in. It's like, what you about to say? Like all of this is to grab their attention, keep their attention, keep the interest in what you have to say. All of this is kind of like making people listen, right? With the nonverbal communication of the hand gestures and the facial expressions and the body language, the movement, the smile, right? The eye contact, all of that paired with your vocal tonality of what you're saying, not of how you're saying what you're saying versus what you're actually saying. Then they'll be able to pay attention to what is being said. They'll remember more of what's being said if it's delivered with energy. What type of energy? You choose. What type of energy did you want them to get from what you were saying? You choose. And you learn your vocal tones, your ups and downs, your highs and lows, how high, how low, right? How median. You learn these things, you practice these things to understand which message I want to deliver and how. And this goes like you can combine that in any way, any shape, form. Learning vocal tonality sets the tone for the communication. Remember, I told y'all about the irate manager? She yelling at everybody. She doesn't yell at me. I set that vocal tone. I changed the tone of the conversation. Oftentimes, people have no choice but to contort to how you're presenting. People value you as you value yourself. You show others how to value you by how you present yourself, right? It's not a mystery that someone who's always loud, you feel like you got to be loud with them. It's not a mystery that, someone who's super bashful and quiet, you feel like you got to be more you got to approach them more sensitively. It's not a mystery. But learning vocal tonalities, you could change a whole lot of stuff. You can get the conversation that you want. You can get the meaning of the conversation. You can drive the meaning of the conversation, the tone. What I wanted you to feel from this. Why did I even approach you? Or you approach me. What do I want to get from this conversation? I want you to leave feeling you choose. Because we're not perfect. Sometimes I want you to feel as bad as you tried to make me feel. I want you to know that this was hey, going back to that manager, this is not the way to approach me. But instead of me telling you or arguing with you and telling you like you ain't gonna do this to me, I don't have no control over what somebody does. And if I tell somebody who's usually if you tell somebody who feels like they have some type of authority, some type of status over you, what they can't do to you, they feel challenged, they feel tested, and they're going to do the exact thing that you tell them not to do. Like 8 times out of 10, that's the result that you're going to get if you just go bumping heads, right? But with effective communication and learning listening, learning empathy, learning nonverbal communication, learning tonality, learning these things changes the conversation. And then it changes the tone. It changes the perspective, and it changes the meaning, the approach. It gets you the change that you want. So why this irate manager who's loud and boisterous and combative and like overly masculine to everybody else, why does this manager approach me and changes her tone? It's because I set the tone. It doesn't matter a title, right? I do this with police officers, lawyers. I do this with, parents. I do this with bosses. I do this with millionaires. Doesn't matter the money, doesn't matter the title, doesn't matter the position. None of that matters. We're human. I do this with the homies. I do this with strangers, right? I do this with Bay. I do this. You carry this. It's communication. It's a skill. So build this skill and keep it in your arsenal. Change the vocal tone and you change the tone of the conversation. What's the tone that you want this conversation to be in? Do you want it to be uplifting? Do you want it to change to something positive? Do you at least want it not to be so draining? Do you not want the negative? I know that's a double negative, but do you not want the negative? If that's the case, then work on the tone, the vocal tonality. And y'all can look up Roger Love. He does a lot of info on different things, different exercises, different ways that you can work on the tonality. I've done a lot on my own. I've also learned from him in his videos, right? I did a training session, put some things into play, got better at public speaking. It's an exercise. If you always improving, then you understand the process of improvement. Discovery, practice, repeat, analyze, improve. Action gets results. So try this out. Try this out. Work on your vocal tone. I had another. It's usually management, right? People behind a title, behind a authority, got some type of leverage over you. Somebody with some type of leverage over you usually comes at you in a certain manner. If they focused on power, right? I had another manager. Like it'll be dead quiet, and then they just choose the wrong pitch when they speak, and I knew it came from nervousness, and I'm sure we've all been there. You use the wrong pitch in nervousness, but it was like super loud. It was like said something. It's like, hey, like I took that offensive. It's like, hello. It's like, oh, like, why are you yelling at me, bro? Like, I'm not yelling. That's just how I talk. No, you're yelling. That's how you chose. That's the vocal tone that you chose. You're yelling. You don't have to yell at me. You can talk like this. It's cool, especially in a quiet setting. Again, you set the tone with your vocal tonality. I've had too many people. I've been in sales, man. I've been in sales on stuff that is you would say the large I've been in sales in real estate, one of the largest purchases people will make, and they have to sell their home, right? They're gonna be upset about something. If you're in a position where you have to sell your home, not want to, but have to, you're gonna be upset. So I've had people come like, "You're the one," and it's like, no. Well, actually, I'm not the one that did that, but instead, I see your problem, and this is what I want to drive in as a solution. Let's talk about that. And usually, it goes into like you're not yelling no more. You're understanding. I brought you here. Let's focus on this. You control the communication. Don't ever feel like you're out of control in the communication. Even in a situation where you're not being able to talk, somebody is super in their emotion and emotionally out of control, and they're just yelling. They just want to get their point across, and they just continuing, right? Then I had that build up, and then it was the final straw, and now everything is coming out. Everything is coming out, and it ain't no stopping it. Guess what you do? I got you. Maybe we can continue this conversation another time when we're able to talk about it. Right now, we're not talking. Another thing I tell people is don't talk at me, talk to me. When you're talking at me, you pointing down, right? Don't talk at me, talk to me. I'm more than willing to listen. And when you show that and genuinely do this, right? Because it's going to be a test. If you're in these predicaments, you ever find yourself in these types of situations, then it's going to be a test. So it's like that first time they'll be willing to change their tonality, their approach, most of the time, to see if they'll get the result that you say that you'll give them. I want to listen to you, but I can't with all of the yelling. I can't do the yelling, right? And it's like, okay, let me not yell at you. They more than likely not going to change their wording or their tonality. They change the volume. but it's still the same. But get through that. Work on some wording yourself to drive the communication, drive that conversation to the way that you see fit. Right? Most of the time, we just want to be the victor in communication. We want to be the dominant one. We want to be the one that said the most or said the best stuff or gave the best advice or had the better experience, right? That leads to interrupting people, talking over people, right? That leads to not listening, genuinely listening. That leads to arguments. That leads to miscommunication. So, working on all of these things together, I'm telling you, man, y'all gonna go back from this week. Can't have community without communication, listening, nonverbal, and there's more nonverbal communication we need to talk about. Most mishaps stem from miscommunication, and now we on had a brain fart. Now we on vocal tonality. All of these things together is what's going to make your communication way more impactful. And we can't have community without communication. And once you take control of the communication, it won't be most people say that they don't talk or they're antisocial or anything of that sense because one, they don't see the value in it. Why should I talk to people? They don't want rejection. They don't want disagreement. They don't want. They focused on what they don't want. So because I don't want all of the above, I'm just not going to talk. But what I learned is we usually cause the conflict that we're trying to avoid. Mm. We usually cause the conflict that we're trying to avoid. I did it last night, and this is a transparency. It's kind of like the opposite, but I chose the wrong wording within the conversation because I set stricter boundaries for myself with phone calls because I communicate. People want to talk to me. I know how to listen. People reach out to me. So I have time frames for certain people. And most of the time when I'm at home, I leave that be. Well, the other people that can get through, I'll talk to them. I talked to my homeboy for like three hours, you know, and we was just laughing and giggling and tripping and reminiscing and all of that good stuff. And I got off the phone, wifey like, you was loud, you know. What you got to laugh about? What's so funny? Because she's one of those antisocial ones. She don't talk to people unless it's unnecessary. And I'm like, I laugh and talk about anything with anybody, right? And then I was put my own foot in my mouth by saying like, oh, I talk to him at home because it's acceptable. I don't talk to everybody else outside. I don't talk to everybody else inside. And now it's like, well, who else are you talking to? Like, dog, hey, do nothing. But the wording, the vocal, a stuttered, all of that miscommunication led to believe like you talking to somebody else. And it's like, no, I'm not. Completely innocent, but I just chose the wrong stuff. I did, communicated bad. It was a miscommunication. Um, it's funny. I can laugh at it now. It won't funny in the moment. Most of this stuff don't be funny in the moment. But I was tripping. I was like, yo, hey, he did nothing, and I made myself look guilty. Miscommunication. I'd be weak. But yeah, man, using the right tone, using the right tone can convey the right message. So work on your vocal tonality. Okay, guys, work on your vocal tonality. It's amazing. Put it into practice. Everything that we're talking about on these lives, you can put into practice right away. I mean, right away. Do it with yourself, right? Talk to yourself in the mirror. Try to say something positive. We usually try to find a flaw, like, "Dang, I got another skin tag. Look at my hair. I look a mess." Try to say something positive, you know, when you're talking to yourself, but just have that dialogue and pay attention to your voice. Is it just like this? Do you ever get tired of yourself? You ever get tired of hearing yourself? You talking to yourself? I done talked to myself and started yawning because everything is in this blanket. Like, I don't got nobody to impress. Everything on this one level. I don't got nobody to impress. I ain't talking to nobody. I'm talking to me. Well, I am somebody. I need to be bringing the energy for me too. You go through this process, man. But it's all good. It's all love, man. Work on your vocal tonality to deliver the message that you want. Use your voice. Use your voice. Okay. That's it for today, guys. Thank you all for being here. Much love. It's your man Tresvon Pratt. When AIM, always improving the mind. Tomorrow, put in the chat what you want to hear about tomorrow within the realm of communication. We might talk about wording since that's where I left off at. Your wording is important. Your diction, your word choice, that's important. But yes, tune in tomorrow. Thank you, TD, my good guy. I appreciate you, my man. Thank you for being here, man. I'm telling you, I can't wait to talk to you. The link is right there. You can always join in on any other chats, right? And I appreciate you, boss. Same for you all. The link is right there. If you want to join me live to have the discussion, hit that link. All right. Much love to